São mecânicas que o Skull and Bones tentou muito fazer.
With Black Flag Resynced, we set out to reconnect with the heart of Black Flag. From the start, the intention was clear: deliver a faithful and enriched experience grounded in what players loved. We've rebuilt the entire adventure using our latest Anvil Engine. Expect fully overhauled visuals, new additions that deepen its world, and enhanced gameplay both on land and at sea.
Gente, mas já era bem
Movement
bonito.
now
Sim,
flows
era
more
incrível.
naturally from one action to the next,
Esse era o medo
whether
da
you're
gente,
doing
tá? O jogo era
parkour
muito
across
bonito
rooftops
já,
in
então.
Havana or fighting on the docks.
Não, mas o visual
Parkour
tá
builds on the
incrível.
latest
incrível,
design
tá
improvements
incrível.
from recent Assassin's Creed games, while still keeping
E a
Edward's classic.
palheta tá muito certa, tá?
É.
Combat now offers a more dynamic, swashbuckling experience, driven by precise parries and takedowns. Stealth gets its share of improvements too, and the ability to
Tá
crouch
nervoso.
anywhere. They open up more tactical routes and subtle approaches, letting you shape the adventure the way you want. Naval gameplay also follows the same philosophy and offers more tactical options. New officers will join your crew with powerful abilities, while the Jackdaw's weapons can be upgraded with new modes to change up the fight. The sea now plays an active role in how you'll be challenged by the elements. Weather and waves will influence how your
colocar os
ship will
elementos de
handle,
navios
while preserving the
fantasma?
pace and freedom players
não sei.
remember.
Skull and Bones tem.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced matters deeply to us and to you. That's why we took the time to rebuild it with the care it deserves.
Com
This remains a
certeza.
solo, adventure, and character-driven experience. It is not an RPG.
Obrigado.
The
Muito
focus
bem.
stays on how you play and how you explore the world. And as we develop the game, we organize dedicated workshops with our community. These early player feedbacks played an important role in refining many of these elements. Here's a look at their most recent visit.
Hello everyone, we are here at the Ubisoft Singapore studio where we invited some of our biggest Assassin's Creed fans to discover the remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. They've had the opportunity to meet the devs, try the game, and share their valuable feedback with us. Here's what they had to say.
Legal.
I still can't believe that I can help the dev team to make the game better and improve it when it finally arrives.
I'm part of that process, and Black Flag is my favorite game, so to be a part of that process is just awesome.
It felt nice to be appreciated in that way, to give direct input about the game.
The feedback with the dev team, they were very open as a dev team to take the criticism, what needs to be fixed, what's great. They even asked us more questions about it. So I love the curiosity that they show us, and it shows that they truly care about what they do.
I'm just really excited to be back, like with the addition of new audio lines, the new dialogue, and the new music.
I'm super excited to actually help improve the staff experience for the game.
I care about this game, this remake. When I heard rumors about this game, I just wanted to be involved in giving as much effective feedback as possible.
Por isso que eles enfatizaram o negócio de a gente sabe que vocês
Some
não
of this
gostam
work
da
came
missão lá.
directly
de-
from spending time with some of our core players early on.
Muito importante
We had
fazer
them
isso.
play early builds and sat down with them to gather their honest feedback on the game, tapping into the many things players expect of a Black Flag remake, from gameplay features to visual fidelity. This helped us refine some of our choices along the way. What was interesting was not only to gather that feedback, but to understand why players reacted this way. They were incredibly passionate about Edward, how he moves, how he reads on screen, even the details on his face. That led to deeper conversations. Together, we explored different approaches, tested ideas, challenged assumptions, and refined choices until the intent felt right again. The team's passion and commitment have driven every step of this journey, and we can't wait for you to see more of what we've been crafting.
Oh, it really is so good to be back in this world. I believe the Black Flag is one of those pirate adventures that never really left the players' minds. And it's also really special to be here today
Curioso
with
que
some of the people who
eles
helped shape
mal
the game
mencionaram
back then
assassinos, o
and
bagulho
who are
inteiro. É
bringing it
só
back
bagulho
now.
pirata.
É.
Porque é um jogo pirata, né?
You were creative director on the original Black Flag, and Paul, you're the creative director on Resynced, who's leading the vision of this remake today. Now, before we dive into what the game is now, I'd love to go back for a moment. So when you started building Black Flag back in early 2012?
2012.
2012. How was the world imagined in the first place? I mean, what were the pillars that were there from day one?
Well, from the very beginning, one of the key central core pillar was fluidity, right? We really wanted a seamless experience, connecting movement, combat, and navigation, all very naturally. And it was the same seamlessness that we were looking for between naval experience and the ground experience, because the other challenges we were facing was to merge actually two fantasies, being a pirate on one side and being an assassin on the other, without any friction. And the sea wasn't just an add-on, to the ground experience. Naval gameplay was really a core pillar from day one. We also wanted a world that feels alive, right? Something that would react to the players, always in motion. And it was very compelling to me to see other people, like Paul and his team, actually, to face the same challenges that we did face back in the days. And I think what helped them craft the game was that a lot of people involved in Resync today were already part of the game, the original back then.
Paul, so you were already a part of the team back then, right? So, when you come back to a project all these years later, what stayed non-negotiable from the original vision, apart from the fact that, I'm Kenway?
So, Matt, the one thing that was non-negotiable is the original story of Edward Kenway. We have never approached Resynced as a reinvention. Our goal is to carry John's vision forward. And today, we have much more room to do so since the game is engineered and rebuilt on Ubisoft's latest Anvil. It allows us to push dynamism, gameplay, immersion further, while keeping the original vision and story intact.
Yeah, Jean, and you mentioned before how collaborative the original game was, and can you talk about that, especially with Singapore?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a absolutely team effort back in the time. And I remember actually in 2012, when we first came here in Singapore, meeting Paul and the team to do what we call the blueprint, this week of hard work where the game really emerged from the preparatory work. And Montreal worked very closely with Singapore. Singapore built key parts of Black Flag. The naval gameplay was built on top of the Assassin's Creed 3 naval tech that was developed, in some specific missions. But you were also behind a lot of places, locations, and gameplays, like caves, underwater gameplay, forts, ships, and some major missions like the E3 demo that you worked on.
Right. Right. So there seems to be like a real sense of continuity here, not just in the game, but in the people making it. One thing that really shaped Black Flag for me was how dynamic the scenes felt coming back to it for Resynced and shooting the mocap scenes in Toronto. The scenes just felt so dynamic, like the original game. And what was the intention back then, when it came to all the cinematics?
So from the start, and it was a lot of discussion with Kama, the animation director back then, we really wanted the scenes to feel alive. We wanted characters moving, interrupting each other, exchanging objects, and reacting physically. And that sense of movement was really part of the game's identity, I feel.
Right. And when you rebuild a game like this, I guess that becomes a huge challenge, right, Paul? And how did you keep the spirit whilst trying to push it further with all of today's amazing technology?
Well, there are many ways, but to carry on the spirit of Black Flag, we always remembered one thing: to rebuild the game with the original pillars in mind, John's pillars and the original core team's pillars. But the most important thing was the story. Every single small moment in the game had to be rebuilt and crafted. And it took a lot of handcrafting, especially the facial animations. But that's important because that's the soul of the game.
Ubisoft sempre tem problemas. Mas pelo menos as cutscenes aí que a gente tá vendo tá decente, né? Não é uma maravilha, mas tá decente.
Não, mas em comparação a todos os outros Assassin's Creed, até hoje esse aí tá sendo o melhor até agora. Pelo menos a cutscene tá excelente.
And when you add new things to a game that people really know off by heart and they know it so well, the fear is always that the people might notice the seams, right? Jean, when you played it, what did you feel?
Well, actually, I felt like playing Black Flag, you know, and not even noticing where the original end was ending and when the new content that Paul and the team wrote was starting. And this is something really, really important. That continuity is very much essential.
You know, Jean, whenever we wanted to change or add something, we would always question ourselves, does this belong here? Would Edward do this? Would John get upset? And if the answer wasn't clear, we simply wouldn't do it. However, as we all know, no remake is complete without additional content. So we have added brand new chapters and brand new missions to the game, including a brand new scene with Edward's wife, Caroline, that's written by Darby himself.
Yeah, I remember.
Já saiu a pré-venda já.
Jean, so
já saiu a
there's
pré-venda?
Acabou de sair.
something, I don't know, there's something deeper in Black Flag than just like pirate freedom, you know, and it's closely tied to the character of Edward.
Yes, absolutely. We really wanted to send a message also saying that freedom without structure doesn't lead you anywhere, right? And Edward's arc reflects that. He thinks everything will be granted, you know, that's the good life, plundering, etc. But then in the end, you realize that you lost all your friends. Yeah. Right? And so this is very important because he grows into someone that understands his own responsibilities and that makes him, like you said, very human.
Yeah.